I remember when I was in Feminism 101 at the New School for Social Research in New York. I was like 2 years old, and I remember learning about the feminist continuum, that women birth each other into being. And this has been happening for many generations and pulling each other up. In every generation we get one more leg up to being, able to be free and fully realized human beings. And it's a very powerful thing, I think, and it gives me joy to be a part of it, for sure. I regret not name checking some of the women who birthed me, along the way, on my records. Like on my very first recording, I've made a song called The Lost Woman Song, and it was definitely inspired. It was unlocked in me from this poem called The Lost Baby Poem, written by this poet, Lucille Clifton, who's also from Buffalo, where I'm from. And she was an African-American poet, feminist, philosopher, writer, just amazing academic and spirit. She's passed now, but I should have written on that album, but I'm trying to make good now. Thanks to Lucille Clifton, for this piece. I mean, she was writing a poem about having an illegal back alley abortion and surviving. And then all of the feeling of loss and grief and terror and shame that accompanied it, that experience. And, when I had an abortion at 18 and wrote the Lost Woman Song, I couldn't write about it until I read her poem. And then it lifted me out of my shame just enough that I could speak. I mean, it's 30 years later or so, and a lot of young women are in the same circumstance. They cannot legally obtain an abortion, or they can't psychologically. It's so hard to endure the shame, the shaming, and the judgment that accompanies reproductive freedom still, even when it's accessible. And I think so much of not just the circumstance of women, but the circumstance of humanity, I think, is really held back and will be for as long as reproductive freedom is not real. It's a strange relationship, but I really do think that world peace is predicated on reproductive freedom. You have to kind of go back to the beginning and approach patriarchy before you can heal all our social diseases that stem from patriarchal culture. So you got to get women free, and then they can get at the design table, and then you have a whole other design. Women are better or more. It's that humans are only whole when all genders and sensibilities are interacting.